Hello, everybody. Thank you all for joining me today for today's webinar. My name is Dylan Fisher. I am one of the regional sales managers here at McCormick Systems. Contact information is here on the screen. Just want to go over a few points here before I get into today's webinar. Number one, this is a one-directional webinar, so you all can see me and hear me, but I can't see you or hear you. With that being said, I would like to address any questions that come up today. So there is a section in the webinar toolbar where you can type in questions, and I'll do my best to address those either as they come up, or certainly I'll leave some time at the end. All my contact information is listed here. My email address, the office phone number. So I want to encourage all of you to reach out after the webinar today if there's any questions at all. If there's any additional information I can provide, please feel free to reach out directly to myself. Yeah, I mean, for all of you who are not familiar with McCormick, just a quick introduction here on the company side of things. We've been in the MEP estimating software business since 1979, so about 45 years, very well established. We are recognized as leaders in the industry. Now, I want to talk about expectations and projections going into next year, into 2025. I've been with the company for 10 years. I'm always speaking with new prospects and new opportunities for McCormick. I hear a lot of from contractors in terms of how business is going, whether business is up or down, or I get a lot of feedback from the contractors I speak with, and I can say this, a lot of optimism going into 2025. Seems to be seem to be on the upswing here. So of course, more opportunities, more bids to put to give out. It means that we certainly need a good estimating solution. Some of you may already have a solution, or you might be using Excel or something along those lines, but whatever the case may be. So again, certainly appreciate the opportunity to talk about what's available, what's out there, what we offer. With that being said, these are some of the points I wanted to touch on today in terms of what should we be looking for in terms of the company, the software capabilities. What are the most important factors here? So now I do also want to mention this. AI has been a hot topic as of late. I will say, and to that point, we had Sal from NetPricer. He did a webinar probably about a month ago, and the topic was AI. Now it's still very much in the research phase. So as we all most of us know and understand, construction is usually a little bit slower to adopt new technology. I don't think AI is going to be any different. Still, I would say many years out in regards to getting to a place where AI is going to really have a meaningful impact for an estimator. I don't think it'll ever replace an estimator. In fact, sometimes people approach me in looking for to get educated on the software, and sometimes there's a belief that the software will replace an estimator, and that's certainly not the case. Estimating and takeoff software is a tool, an estimator's tool. It's meant to make the estimator faster and more efficient, more accurate and consistent, more organized. So there's a lot that the software can do for an estimator. But it certainly doesn't replace the estimator. Now, again, in terms of what should we be looking for, number one, what type of company are you dealing with? If you're looking for, estimating and takeoff software, is this a company that's been around for a while? Are they new to the industry? What are people saying about them? Obviously nowadays, one of the first things I do when I look for, a new, when I'm looking to make a new big purchase, I look at reviews and I ask around. So again, McCormick has a great reputation in the industry, lots of great reviews and blogs and estimator forums out there where you can, hear what other people are saying about McCormick. We gain a lot of business from word of mouth. So obviously, contractors usually, communicate with each other pretty well when it comes to, tools and equipment. Now, again, the topic today is MEP. Is the software trade specific? That is certainly important when it comes to mechanical, electrical, and plumbing. There's a lot of systems out there that are very generic construction takeoff or generic construction estimating. Whereas something like McCormick, it is trade specific. We offer an electrical database, and we also offer a plumbing and mechanical database. So obviously you might do one of those trades, or you may do two of the three, or all three, these are, this is on the McCormick side, this is a trade specific database, which is important. Not many people want to, reinvent the wheel and create their own database. So, and that's what you're looking at if you get into more of a generic construction estimating platform. You're going to have to build your own database. On the McCormick side, really not a better starting point out there in terms of a pre-built database. But it's also very customizable. So we have the ability to personalize the database and make it our own. We can make changes to existing parts and add to it. It's unlimited in that sense. Even the way we navigate the database in McCormick is customizable. Now, also, I want to touch on all-in-one, what we mean by all-in-one estimating and takeoff. I mentioned there's a lot of options out there on the market. There's some that are just estimating. There are some that are just takeoff. And again, sometimes they're, just generic, construction. Whereas McCormick is all-in-one estimating and takeoff, which means it's one program. We're not linking two programs together. We're not doing takeoff in one program and then entering that in to an estimating system, or trying to get them to we're not even integrating. It's one program, which means it's much easier to work with. There's less steps involved, and there's no chance for errors between the counts and measurements and the actual calculations on the estimating side. So that's big. Also, our takeoff and estimating is geared towards the trades. So it's with the the MEP estimator in mind. In fact, the program that we offer today is a result of many years of estimator feedback and suggestions. So. Now, another hot topic and an important factor to consider when looking into estimating and takeoff software is how to manage material pricing. There's many ways to do it, and in McCormick, we can really do it any way that's available. It's up to you. So what we start you with is, you know, an updated retail price on the materials. We get that from a pricing service, and then we have 3 preset multipliers off of that. You know, so we call it price 1, 2, and 3. Essentially, price 1 in our system to start is our best guess at what you pay for the material based off of an average contractor discount. Now, of course, that's just our best guess. You know, everybody pays, you know, different prices for material depending on the size of the company, the region, you know, how much material you buy. All of these factors change the price of the material. So obviously the pricing that we're starting you with is, you know, yes, there's some pricing there, but it's, you know, it's not my pricing. So I do want to touch on some of the different ways we can handle that. Now, obviously, the database we start you off with is, it becomes your database. So you can make any changes you want in your database. You can go in there and manually update, you know, items in the database with current material pricing. You know, some people, not many people would want to take that on, but some do. In fact, we work with some larger companies where they have somebody who's, that's like, you know, that's one of their jobs, is to keep the database up to date. Now, one of the many advantages to McCormick is that we're a true all-in-one estimating and takeoff solution. We are we're a true network, a true multi-user system. So what I mean by that is we're all sharing the same McCormick. So we're all sharing the same database. So with that being said, if somebody's job is to keep the material pricing up to date for us, let's just say we have 10 estimators. Well, you know, it only has to be done once, and we're all benefiting from that. So that is a huge advantage to McCormick, is that we're all sharing the same database. We can see the same jobs. You know, we can even work on the same jobs at the same time. So certainly a lot of advantage to collaborating as well. But again, going back to material pricing, that's one way to do it. We also spit out a complete itemized list of material every single time, you know, down to the nuts and bolts. After you complete a takeoff in McCormick, we spit out a complete itemized list of material. So some users will either spot check pricing at that point. You know, they'll just make sort of on a job-to-job basis, make some adjustments, maybe, you know, spot check big ticket line items, you know, things that change a lot. Some material we always have to get quoted, you know, things like fixtures and equipment. You know, those are items that we take off in McCormick to account for and to, of course, get the labor time to install. But it's something that shows up in our extension as something we have to get a quote on. So at the very least, there, you know, certain items we have to get quoted. On the commodities, so to speak, that's where we have, again, a lot of different ways to manage that. So again, at that point in the extension, we could just export the whole material list and send it to the supplier. And then they'll, you know, we'll wait for them to send us a price back and we can punch it in. So again, at the very least, you'd have to do that with quoted items, but some people do it on the entire material list, job to job. Now, finally, there's a couple more automated ways of handling it. Some of our users, they get a file directly from their supplier, and it's really just a common Excel file, a list of parts in Excel with prices, and then they include a UPC code. You know, that's something that we can key off of to update the material in McCormick. So for example, the file might, in the first column might be the item description. Now, we can't key off of that because the chances that the item description that the supplier uses is the same as the description McCormick uses is very unlikely. So again, the next column might be a price, the next column might be a unit of measure, and the next column might be the UPC code. So what we can do is we can create a map. We can say, okay, column D in the customer's file is the UPC code. We're going to compare that with the UPC code or spec in McCormick. And if we find a match, we're going to map, let's say, column B, which is the price in the customer's file. We're going to point that to the to the supplier price field in the McCormick database. So this is something our support department can set up for you, at the very least, assist you in setting this up. So again, the supplier sends you an Excel file. We set up a map and save that, and then we of course are just pointing to the file and running the update. What's neat is that McCormick automatically generates a report after we run the update, and it's a report that shows all the parts in the file that found a match in McCormick, and then it also shows a report of all the parts in the file that did not find a match in McCormick. So doing it this way, it does require some work, because at that point, if I want those parts to be updated in my McCormick database, then I could find the part in McCormick, I could review the item, and I could change the UPC code one time to match what's in the file. And then from that point forward, anytime I point to a new file and run the update, it'll see the part and update it. So that's a great way to manage, a great automated way of managing material pricing in McCormick. Again, it does require some work up front just to make sure that those codes are matching, but it's not difficult work. It does, obviously take some time to go through it. But then at that point, the pricing in my estimating program is always as good as the last file I ran. Now, there's one more way to do it, and it is the best way to do it. We work with all of the major price updating services out there. On the plumbing mechanical side, there's Harrison and Trade Service. On the electrical side, there's Trade Service and Net Pricer. Those are the pricing service options we work with. So for a McCormick client, that's an add-on option. The ability to use a pricing service is built into McCormick, but it requires an add-on subscription to utilize it. So with that being said, if I'm an electrical McCormick user, and let's just say I'm subscribed to NetPricer, they're doing two things for me. They're automatically updating my database, so the pricing in my database is always up to date with typically like average market pricing. And by the way, I talked a little bit about running the Excel file to update prices. In that case, the UPC codes have to be identical in order for it to work. With the pricing services, they're smart enough to cross-reference, so you don't have to worry so much about the codes matching, because they know that this code is the same as this code. I want a price on, half-inch EMT. So that's one aspect. They keep the database up to date for me. On top of that, they have the ability to link me up directly to some suppliers. So on a job-to-job basis, when I extend a job and I'm looking at the complete material list for the job, I can hit a button and get today's price on my material, from my price from my supplier, with just a click of a button. And if I'm linked up to multiple suppliers in McCormick, we can even compare multiple suppliers' prices side by side, and we can even cherry pick between them. So very cool. Again, a lot of ways of managing material pricing. That's something that's like the big variable, in terms of like, what's different for you versus your next door neighbor or your competitor. In terms of like labor units, those are pretty well standardized. And in fact, we have multiple levels built into our parts to handle different scenarios. And of course, again, that's all customizable to you. there are, aspects like your labor rates and tax rates and equipment cost, which are unique to you and in your business. That's all set up as part of a template. But again, material pricing is the big variable. That's why I wanted to take some time there to talk about all the different options. Now, that also leads me into my final bullet here, which is implementation and support. And it kind of goes along with the first bullet, company reputation. Something that McCormick is very well known for is the customer satisfaction, customer support, the way that we, help our clients get up and going with the software, and the way that we provide continuous support. Very important. Sometimes that's an afterthought, unfortunately. Some people will get into a software program and without an understanding of what it's going to take to get up and going, and not understanding what type of support they or training they may require. And then of course now you're in a new program and you can't get the help that you need. That's not a good deal. So I do want to touch on this with McCormick. We have an implementation and onboarding process in place. Now, we have like a typical, like a kind of a standard online implementation plan, and then we have in-person options as well. So we have classes that we do at our office in Chandler, also at the foundation headquarters in Ohio. We offer some classes there as well. Not as many there, but I'd say like probably one a quarter in Ohio, but here in Arizona we might do usually 1 to 2 a month. So that's one way to do it. You can send an estimator to us, or multiple estimators to us, and we also offer on-site training where we send a trainer to you, and typically they spend 2 to 3 days with you. And you can have as many users involved. So usually if there's 5, 10 plus estimators, on-site training makes a lot of sense for the most effective and quickest implementation process. Now, of course, this is kind of customizable too. It depends on the company. So we usually are able to get a feel for what you're looking at. And in terms of implementation, how much setup and customization you might need, how much assistance you might need in learning the program. So we do try to prescribe a custom implementation plan for the company based on the needs. And then on the support side, on top of that implementation plan, which also there's supporting documents as well, such as videos, training videos, tutorials, there's manuals, there's even glossaries that define abbreviations in the database. Of course, that's all provided. But on top of the training, the implementation plan, there's continuous support. We're very proud to say that our average response times on the support side are less than 10 minutes, which is really stellar, unheard of in our industry. So very quick response times. When you call McCormick, you're talking to somebody, a McCormick employee or a foundation employee, and then they're either getting you right through to a support guy, or if no one's available, then they take the phone number down and add you to the queue, and then again you're usually getting contacted in less than 10 minutes. So yeah, anytime you get stuck on something or have a question, you got help when you need it. So again, those are the major points I wanted to touch on today. Now, I do want to show a little bit of the program, while we're connected today. And we've got many of these webinars recorded, available on we have a YouTube channel, so you'll find a lot of good videos and information there. So I do want to point out that some of what I'm finding is a lot of the people that attend our webinars, they may not be necessarily quite ready for a personalized demonstration. They're just kind of, seeing what's out there and trying to get educated. So that's terrific. Again, we have a YouTube channel where you can find all sorts of you know, different types of videos. Some are going to be more geared towards, you know, um, electrical, or some will be geared more towards plumbing, mechanical. Oftentimes they're kind of generic in terms of we're just trying to show how the software works, working through a 5-step process, or shortcuts and customization capabilities. But yeah, so I guess the point I'm trying to make is if you're looking for more of like a demonstration type of informational video, then those are available. But today, yeah, I want to touch on a little bit of that, going back to like setup and implementation and having and why it's important to have the help that you need. So in McCormick, there's not a whole lot of setup required. There is some, of course, but there's a lot of things that can be customized and personalized, which is useful for different things, for speeding up the process, making processes easier or faster, and then of course organization and visibility, things like that. So so to start, this screen that you're looking at is what we call the job screen in McCormick, and it is totally customizable to the user. So these are just examples up here at the top, and of course they're just examples. You would create your own folders and label them however you like. There's no data limitations in McCormick, so over time you might have hundreds, if not thousands, of jobs in McCormick. So you're definitely going to want to organize them. That way you're not dealing with just one giant list of jobs in McCormick. So again, these are just examples. Within the folders, these details are also customizable. So these are the details that I've chose to display on my dashboard. And you'll see by clicking on the detail, it sorts the jobs in the folder by that detail. So, for example, sake, maybe I just want to see the jobs that we're currently estimating at this time. So, I can click on the job status here, and it sorts the jobs in the folder by that detail. So not only do the details give me a quick snapshot of what's happening inside the jobs, but I can use the details for filtering, also for searching as well. If I only want to see the jobs that I'm currently estimating in this folder, I can start typing in the detail. There's a search bar at the top of each one of these columns, and now it filtered the list down into just the jobs in the commercial folder that we're currently estimating. And of course, you could pull up jobs by name or number, anything like that. So again, it's a customizable dashboard. Once again, this is one aspect in McCormick that's customizable to you, and and it's kind of specific to you in terms of how you do things, how you want to organize things, and what type of details make the most sense for you. So again, going back to implementation, obviously we have to teach a new client how to use the program efficiently, but on top of that, there's a lot of things that can be set up and customized. Now, what's also pretty neat is that we have what's called dashboards, which are also customizable to the user. And so let me just show you a sample of this. The dashboards, what they do is they pull information from that job screen, and then they also pull information from the jobs themselves to create these. They're sort of like graphs and charts, and so there's different ways that we can view the jobs in McCormick. There's different ways that we can make comparisons and manage this. So right now I chose, again, this is customizable. I chose to view the division breakdown. So again, this is how I'm sorting my jobs in McCormick. You might be sorting your jobs a different way, but I'm then able to make some comparisons between, low voltage jobs, commercial jobs, industrial jobs. It's showing me, each slice is a job, and how much of that how and the value of the job. So, for example, this 249 West Boston renovation, it's 300 about $320,000, and so that's the amount of the pie it's taking up in the commercial um, pie, and you can actually click on them and it drills down. And I could actually drill down further, but what this is showing, it's showing just that 249 job sell price. It's showing the total hours. It's showing the price per square foot and hours per square foot. And then these bar graphs here are representing cost codes, which are we have. That's something we could discuss for a long time in terms of what those are used for, but that's what those are representing. Now, again, you can even drill down further if I wanted to look at equipment, how that, or labor. If I click on that, it drills down further and showing me the labor distribution. So again, these are customizable. Again, useful for different purposes, for comparisons, also just to get a feel for what's happening inside of McCormick. Now, another area where some setup is required is actually the bid summary, which is the fifth and final step of McCormick. We work through a 5-step process. Step 1, I showed you the job screen. That's also where you would either open up an existing job or start a new job. And if you're starting a new job, you name the job, type in details if you want to, and add drawings. The second step of McCormick is where we can break a bid down into pieces, areas, systems, phases. Also, if we're providing more than one price, that's what labeling is for. In McCormick, we can create and manage multiple prices per job folder, including change orders. I can come back and do a base bid today. I can come back and do a change order, a year from now. So it's unlimited. Within a single job folder, we can create and manage multiple prices, including change orders. It keeps a nice thing about an all-in-one system. It's all in one place and it's easy to get back to. Takeoff, of course, is where we account for the material. And I'll just click on it because once again, there's a lot of customization capabilities here. A lot of different things we can set up. Of course, the database itself, the items and assemblies, those are, once again, we're starting you off with a really nice starting point. But if you don't like the name of an item, you can change it. You don't like the way an assembly is built, you can change it. And of course, you can add as many as you want to your database. Even the menu, which is how we drive the database, is customizable to the user. So you can actually, customize the menu. You can put it into setup mode. You can rename things. You can reorder things just to make the process easier for you and your users, because everybody does things a little differently, and oftentimes there's already sort of a process in place before you get into a program like McCormick. So the advantage to being able to customize that is you can, in some ways you can replicate or mimic the way you're used to doing things, and just again, we're just trying to make the process faster and more efficient. We don't necessarily have to reinvent the wheel. We also have a neat feature called workspaces on the estimating side, where we can create shortcuts to get to lots of materials very quickly. So if you do a lot of repetitive work and you're using a lot of the same parts often, then that feature again, once again, a customizable feature to the user to create as many shortcuts as you want to get to specific areas of the database very quickly. And then, of course, again, we're all-in-one estimating and takeoff. So, so here in takeoff, we would open up the drawings that we attached in the first step, and we would be, marking those up. Now, again, kind of going back to, what should we be looking for? When it comes to on-screen takeoff, there's nuances to these specific trades, to electrical, plumbing, and mechanical. So keep that in mind. Our takeoff is built for these trades, and so if we were to do a demonstration for you, we would point those out. There's features and capabilities we have in McCormick that you won't see elsewhere. You certainly won't see in generic construction takeoff programs. Now on the in regards to automation, in terms of automatic takeoff capabilities, we do have the most automated capabilities when it comes to available on the market today. When it comes to two-dimensional takeoff, we have features called like auto count, where if you have a bunch of the same symbols on the drawing, we can find them for you and mark them for you. We have a patented feature called auto home runs. It's a shortcut to knock out home runs on the electrical side very quickly. We have a feature called auto drops, where we can automatically account for vertical values on top of horizontal measurements that we're drawing on the plan. And then we have shortcuts like a favorites list and a hot list, which are just ways to get back to materials very quickly that we've already used, or favorites lists where we're similar to the workspace feature I mentioned, where shortcuts to get to materials quickly that we use often. We don't have to dig for them. And then again, the fact that it's all in one is already helping with ease of use and speed, because it's one system. We're not dealing with two separate systems that we have to get to communicate with each other. The extension piece in McCormick is a result of what we do in takeoff. So we're spitting out a complete itemized list of material. We're showing the material costs and hours associated with the parts. And then you have an opportunity to make changes there if necessary before you move on to the fifth and final step. So I had mentioned earlier all the different ways you can manage material pricing in McCormick, and I had mentioned that one way to do it is when you get to extension, you might just export the material list, or you might spot check prices there. And again, you'd only be doing it that way if you weren't using a file or a pricing service. And then, I'll touch on the bid summary here, because again, this is another area of the program where there is some setup required. At the very least, when a new client gets McCormick, they need to set up their labor rates in the system, because we figure out labor hours. Here in the bid summary, you're assigning your rates to the labor hours to determine labor cost. You're adding additional job expenses and markups. So again, this is the bid summary. These are the job cost categories. If I had come here from extension, then I would be seeing material costs and hours here, and then I would just be going through these through the folders down at the bottom to address the additional job expenses. So these folders down here. So for example's sake, here's the labor tab. This is my example list of rates here on the left side. Now it's one list. I have three lists. So always like to point this out that we have the ability to create multiple groups of labor rates. So I might have like an inside group, an outside group, different locals, or prevailing wage. So you can have all of these different groups. And of course, once again, that's set up as part of a template, and that's something that we assist new clients with as part of the onboarding process. Yeah, job to job, you're able to pick the rates you want and assign hours to them. And then another folder you might set up is like obviously tax, but equipment. For example's sake, job to job, I need to account for equipment cost. It could be as simple as you come in here and say, okay, I need a bucket truck and it's $2,000 total. But it could also be preset as part of a template. So just for example's sake, that's what I did here on the lift line. I put in, as part of my template, I put in my monthly, daily, weekly rates, so that when I get here, I don't have to look anything up. I can just say, okay, and I want to use the weekly rate and I need that for 3 weeks, and I'm done with it. All right. And then, at the end of the day, we do spit out an automatic proposal. That's another piece that you would most likely want to customize. So again, just trying to touch on like expectations and when you get into a new program. One of the neat things about our proposals is that they are really 100% customizable to the user. They can really look however you want them to look. So so we start you off with a few sample templates. I'll just open one up real quick here. But in terms of like the design and the layout, the fonts, the verbiage, that's all customizable to the user. So again, this is just one sample. You can customize our examples that we start you with and make them your own. You could also create your own from scratch. So so they're totally 100% customizable to you. Job to job, you would just hit merge to get the. You'll see that there's links in there. Those links are gray. Those are the fields that will populate from the job of McCormick. So again, we're looking at a template. Job to job, you hit merge because we can create and manage multiple prices per job folder. So this is just telling the system which price or prices we want to pull in. So then, so I selected base bid, and then all the fields populate, job name, phone numbers, emails, addresses, prices, everything populates. All right, well, that's all I've got for you today. I haven't seen any questions pop in here, so I must have done a thorough job today. Again, if you do have any questions at all, if there's anything we can provide in terms of information, education, demonstrations, please don't hesitate to give us a shout. I'll put my contact information back on the screen here. And thank you all for your time today. Hope to hear from some of you in the near future. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.